Eric Wang Foundation. A foundation in Uganda has launched a campaign to support Ugandan-born Chinese children. Yes, Ugandan-born Chinese children who were abandoned or left behind by their Chinese fathers. Crazy stuff! So this foundation is looking to help these children. Okay, they want to build infrastructure in Uganda with the goal of helping, financially, supporting, emotionally, and finding the fathers of these abandoned Chinese Ugandan children. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are appreciated. We are in Uganda. Here's Uganda on a map. Beautiful place, lovely people, great place to be. Now, in Uganda, something crazy is happening right now. Okay? This Chinese foundation is doing a tremendous work. They're trying to establish, but first to identify every Ugandan Chinese children, which are obviously very easy to identify. You just look at the face, this one. Their fathers are not around.
I watched many social media posts about African Chinese children being abandoned by their Chinese fathers. This made me feel very bad and actually very sad. And I know that something right had to be done, where I talked to my father, David Wang, and he provided me with support to make Eric Wang Foundation possible.
And it's very sad because these boys are victims of discriminations. Okay, boys and girls. From school, they look at them, why you look like that? But why your eyes like this? It's not nice. It's not nice. Well, I can understand, this makes you feel like, Chinese go through the most. Matter of fact, Asians go through the most because every time you see an Asian, you just think it's a Chinese. That's bad. And they get very upset about that. It's like every time a South African see a black man, he thinks it's Nigerian. Anyway, forget about the South Africa. Now, in Uganda, a foundation named Eric Wang is helping to find Chinese fathers for these children. How did we get to this? Okay, many Chinese children are born during infrastructure projects in Uganda, like roadworks, dam project, 4G networks, and more. So when Chinese come to Africa, they come to work. Okay, in most cases, they hire themselves. Chinese companies rarely hire locals. If they hire locals, they are cleaners. They're really nobodies. Okay, so they bring the team and stuff like that. But as you would know, you go to a place, you see some beautiful women. What happens? You want some of them. And unfortunately for many African people, when they see anybody with a lighter skin, they think is richer. And also it's because of the economics and the situations. Many people go through tough situations in their countries. They can barely meet the bare minimum. Therefore, whichever opportunity they get to fix their life, they'll do it. I'm sorry, but love in most Africa is not necessarily love anymore. And I feel very sad saying that, because the only way to truly love each other is when you have nothing. Both of you have nothing. Or both of you have something. I know it's very sad to put it that way, but matter of fact, a lot of people, and I can understand why, a lot of people get into relationships and stuff because they need to survive, They also think that usually people from other places are more serious. They're genuine. Their love is true. And it's very sad. And I think it's not their fault because us brothers have done a lot of damage to our sisters. Therefore, because they're looking for true love, they may be trying to find it elsewhere. So they expect the Chinese person to be present. They expect the Lebanese, whoever, to be a good man, a good husband. They expect other people to do good for them. Fortunately, in this case, Chinese people have done a lot of tluf bam bam and have abandoned those children. Well, Chinese people sometimes come to Africa looking for business. When they're trying to open a business, they need an African lady to be next to them. Why? Because they know an African lady will help them navigate appropriately the business area. Usually in Africa, when you don't belong, the price will be higher of anything that you're trying to buy. So whatever business you're trying to build, you probably will have to pay a higher price if you are a foreigner. But if you come with the local who's got your best interest at heart, you're probably going to get the right price. So the Chinese will be in relationships with Africans, number one, for sexual purpose, number two, to use them for their benefit. What ends up happening is they will use this person to get things they want, and at the end, they either break up with them or make them pregnant and disappear. So fellas, we have a situation here where foreigners go to Africa, get with locals, give them babies, then they disappear. Then the kids are victims of discrimination because they look different from other kids. Now, this company, props to them, Eric Wang, is an NGO that has launched a campaign to support Ugandan-born Chinese children who were abandoned and left behind by their Chinese fathers. And the goal is to reunite those children with their fathers. I'm not sure what their plans are. Are they going to send these kids to China? Will this kid be accepted in China? Are they going to force these Chinese people to get back to Uganda and form families with Ugandan women? What are the probability? Or are they just going to find a way for these children to be talking to their fathers on the phone? I don't know. Even that already, I think it's a great job. If these kids can already speak to their fathers, it's a great job, because a father is a very necessary figure in a man's life. Now, this is not limited to Uganda, fellas. It has happened in many places in Africa. In Kenya, many British soldiers impregnated Kenyan women, okay? Then they vanished. They disappeared. They left them with children. In Kenya, things are a bit different. You know, some of our sisters think that a white man is better than the black man.
I'm really going to go for the white one, because with the black ones, it's a mess. It's a mess, of course. With the black ones, it's a mess, because white is white, white stays white. With the white one, you don't get headaches. There's a very big difference. Yes. With the white one, you don't get headaches.
Because they naturally think that white men are better than black men, because white for them is money, white for them is peace, white for them is love, white for them is serious. They will tend to gravitate toward white men rather than black men, purely based on the skin color. And now, unfortunately, some of these ladies are mocked because people are saying, you thought white man was better. Look at what white man has done to you. Now you're pregnant, they've disappeared. They don't even give a continental about the child. I mean, this person was seriously not in a relationship with you. Because even if you and I break up, but if we were in a serious relationship, I am certainly going to look after my child. I mean, I made you pregnant and just vanished like that. This is crazy. And this is not limited to that. Some Kenyan women lost their lives in the end of the British military based in Kenya. Yes, some military from Britain are based in Kenya permanently. Now, these Kenyan women went to have fun, you know, party with the British, party with the white man. He ended up unalived, you know, and nobody says a thing about that. The British government doesn't want to provide that man to be prosecuted and sent to jail. They know who he is. They know who he is. Now, with the case of the children, the court in Kenya has pressured enough for the British to authorize that those 11 men who impregnated Kenyan women and disappeared, his name be revealed so they can follow up and they can look after their children. Similar things have happened in the past too, okay? In the DRC, for instance, many Belgians went to the DRC during colonialism. And at that time, many Belgians took black women, you know? It wasn't love. So you come here, you come here, you come here, you know, to make you pregnant. Some were taken by force. And after that, what happened? The Belgians disappeared. They make a local person pregnant, then they disappear. What's occurred in DRC is very interesting. Once a Belgian made a black person pregnant, they will follow up with that person, find out what's happening with her. She will give birth, but as soon as the child is about 5 years old, they will come and kidnap the child from the mother and take the child to a private institution where the child will get better treatment than black kids, better schooling. They will look after the child, but later on they will send the child to Belgium, changing the names and everything. So the mother will never see the child ever. That's what the Belgians did.
We were seen as horrible, just horrible, a problem for the Colonial project. The problem was also that we were considered children of the state. It was not the mother who exercised power. It was the state that was allowed to exercise power. And in that sense, they were free to do as they pleased.
In matter of fact, recently, a group of 5 women, all born between 1945 and 1950 in the Belgian Congo, okay? They brought a case to Brussels Court of Appeal. These women were born in the Congo. They took them very young from the mothers and sent them to Belgium, okay? Just because their fathers were white. And what happened is they argued that the forced removals and abduction were crime against humanity. So they took the government to court for crime against humanity. Initially, the court rejected that. They say it's been too long, okay? The court said it's been too long. You're asking for something that's happened too long. You can't be talking about it. Like, they rejected the case on the basis that too much time had passed. Imagine something saying somebody raped me 30 years ago and you said it's been too long. You can't talk about this now. Then after putting pressure, they reversed this by saying, okay, we accept your query. So they won the case for crime against humanity against the government of Belgium.
On behalf of the Belgian federal government, I apologize for the Mwekassa of Belgian colonial origin and their families for the injustice and their suffering.
Now, my question is, are they going to get paid? How are they going to get paid? I hope they're going to get paid. Like, I really hope they're going to get paid substantially for that, because they had the courage to express themselves. We were with our mothers. You should have left us with our mothers. If you were going to bring us to a country, we will not even see our fathers. Okay? I mean, I was with my mom. Yes, my dad disappeared, but you took me from my mom to take me to an institution where I would grow up as an orphan just because my father's Belgian. That is crime against my being. I mean, when you send somebody like that, very young, they lose track of where they come from. They lose their name, they lose their tribe, they lose everything. The language, if they had learned. So you turn them into nothing. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.